All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We're giving a couple of minutes for everyone to go ahead and trickle on in. We want to make sure that everyone takes advantage of today's webinar about digitizing your shipping and warehouse operations with Magaya Supply Chain. Those numbers are crawling up. Ed, Chris, how are you guys feeling today?
Fantastic, Alfred. How about yourself?
Pretty good. I mean, I'm in Florida. I know you're not from this area. And it's about what, 90 degrees or so. It's very hot. Chris, you're in the cooler area, right?
It's about 90 degrees here too, but without the humidity. So I'm out in the Lake Tahoe area,
Ooh,
California, Nevada border. We are high desert, currently also crazy hot, but at least dry.
yeah. So like a nice air like hair blower in your face the entire time as soon as you walk outside.
Yeah, so like when you open the oven and try to and stick your head too close. Yes.
All right, fair enough. Okay, we're gonna give it a few more minutes just to have a couple more attendees come on in. And good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. All right. With that being said, I'm getting the okay go from the back of the house. So once again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on today's webinar, where we're going to be discussing how to digitize your shipping and warehouse operations with our core product, Magaya Supply Chain. We do have a couple of housekeeping items that we wanted to go over before we started the webinar. First and foremost, everyone's going to walk away with a prize today. Yes, that is true. It's going to be your very own recording of this webinar. You're very welcome. Second of all, please go ahead and send us your questions through the Q&A panel. The only reason why is sometimes if it goes through the chat, we're unable to go ahead and see them. So we want to make sure that we answer all and any of the questions that you have. Please send them through the Q&A panel. And then last and not least, make sure to download any desired collateral on our resources tab. It's actually going to be available in the console right in front of you. That's all free. Go ahead and it'll be more relevant information on the webinar that we're presenting today. We'll even mention a couple of pieces of collateral that you'll see there so you can go ahead and download. But with that being said, let's go ahead and let's go straight into introductions. We have a fantastic group this afternoon. Myself, my name is Alfred. I have been with Magaya for approximately 11 years. I am the Director of Growth Marketing. Joined is Christian Lilimets. He is our Chief Product Officer here at Magaya. Go ahead and say hi, Christian.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. And then last and not least, we have Eduardo Bencomo, lovingly known as Ed here at Magaya. He is the VP of Sales, but specifically for our strategic and larger accounts. Go ahead and say hi, Ed.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Alfred. Excited to be here.
Very exciting to go ahead and be here. All right, and with that being said, let's go ahead and let's dive right on in. So, I'd be remiss if I didn't start the webinar kind of level setting. There is one thing that you're going to see on your screens. It's also a piece of collateral that you can download. If you haven't done so yet, I urge you, please go ahead and download it. It is incredible. It is also coincidentally the number one most downloaded and engaged with piece of collateral in Magaya's history. And what is that? That is the State of Digitization report. And so essentially, we did this survey with hundreds, if not, I'm trying to remember right now, thousands of freight forwarders, asking them to go ahead and tell us what they thought was the current state of freight forwarding and also what the future may hold. And there was a couple of outliers, and this is essentially going to be the basis of this webinar that we're seeing. The report reveals that it is very much a pivotal moment in the industry, especially for freight forwarding and the supply chain. Now, one of the core issues is they found out that outdated systems create bottlenecks. That's kind of not a surprise for anyone, but the diving deep into why many businesses still decide to go ahead and remain with these outdated systems is going to be very illuminating, and we'll also talk about how you can get away from that. Visibility gaps hinder fast decision making, and then lastly, demand is rising for unified digital platforms. Now, Chris, Chief Product Officer, you're all up in the Magaya product all the time. Were any of these responses or any of these kind of insights from the report surprising to you? What did you think once you went ahead and saw it?
No, not really surprising. And what I really loved about the report and how it was set up was uh, freight forwarders, logistics service providers, were surveyed, but so were their customers, shippers, the owners of the cargo, and it highlighted really well kind of the dual importance of tech for forwarders. One, yes, what do you as a forwarder consider the state of your tech and what that gives to your business? But the other, shippers were asked, okay, the tech that your service provider has, how important is that for you when you're picking a service provider? And then even further, it was asked, how would you kind of rate your current provider? And the gaps there were pretty big. Forwarders themselves saying, yes, I know outdated tech is bad. I want to get away from Excel, our main competitor at Magaya, by the way. The shippers were saying, extremely important for me, competitive differentiator really for my service providers to see what kind of tech they can provide to me so I can, have visibility, have access, all of that. How do you rate your current service providers? Well, not so high. So it was a very interesting report that definitely backs up what we've been, feeling out there, talking to our customers and sometimes their customers.
Correct. And funny enough, once we were doing an interview with one of these customers, and we asked them point blank, like, what kind of freight forwarder would you consider yourself? And I kid you not, the joke was, we are an excellent freight forwarder. And I said, why is that? I didn't get the joke in the beginning. He says, oh yeah, because we run our entire operations off Excel. I said, oh boy, I'm going to have to mention that the upcoming webinar. So I made good on that. Thank you, Mario. So, with that being said, Magaya specifically is built to answer that call, and especially those gaps that were mentioned inside of the report. How so? Well, we deliver a unified platform that brings your shipping, warehousing, accounting, and freight forwarding together in one place, positioning you for success in today's digital first world. Now, the one thing that I did want to mention there, if you look at the product stack, the one that we're going to double click into today is the first one in the product stack, which is the Purple Supply Chain, which is kind of our flagship product. I don't know if Chris, you and Ed would agree as well.
100%.
It's the Yeah, 100%.
Absolutely.
And speaking of Magaya Supply Chain, Ed, you're the one that has to go ahead and present this day in and day out. Aside from Chris, I think that you're the second most knowledgeable person when it comes to anything that has to do with Magaya Supply Chain. So tell us, how does this go ahead and help people with these gaps?
Thank you for that, Alfred. It's actually a learning process all the time because we continue adding features and learning from our customers. But when we say the Magaya supply chain solution is a unified platform, it means in terms of that the modern freight forwarder needs to be ready to respond to the demands of the market, right? So be able to either offer warehousing capabilities, customs compliance if their customer asks for it. And in Magaya, we have all that in one single solution, one single stop shop. So if you're a freight forwarder doing air, ocean, or ground, import, export, FCL, LCL, consolidations, and you also have to manage a warehouse, for instance, or use a third party, but you want to provide visibility for your customers, all those tools are at your reach with our supply chain solution, our TMS, which is one of the most comprehensive in the market out there at a very, very competitive price. What it does is this eliminates the cost of integrating disparate tools, right? So warehouse on one side, customs compliance on the other side. So it allows you to have it all under one roof. This also simplifies your onboarding and training and ultimately the data integrity, right? Which is the data
Right.
integrity your customers want to have. What else does a platform offers, right? It's like before we go into that, the end-to-end visibility. We go from quote to accounting to, accounts payables and receivables, passing by all the visibility for your customers. So there's automation that we bring also to the table here. And speaking of automation, we have where we have, I'll say, where we excel in new improvements and enhancements for in tools and automation is in the warehouse, right? These are simple, and I say on quote unquote simple
Quote
because
unquote. There you go.
yeah, because uh, they are affordable, but they provide a level of um, automation and accuracy in the warehouse that is unprecedented. So we're not only talking about faster inbound and outbound of your cargo, we're also about talking about revenue increase, right? So when you miss an inch or two in a box or a pallet, you are leaving revenue on the table, right? So we have this solutions that allows you to measure, to take pictures, to get the weights, the dimensions all in one shot, and that eliminates a lot of errors. So we cut the cost, we improve the accuracy, so we move faster and smarter with actionable intelligence. So because all this data that you're collecting at this point, so you're eliminating the endless spreadsheets, right? So you are providing the visibility to your customer. As soon as the cargo comes into a warehouse and is measured automatically with these machines, right? Put away with the, for example, the handheld device that you see on your screens, so your customers know where in the warehouse is that cargo. The pictures on the how the cargo arrived to the warehouse. So you providing 100% um, accountability, right, of your services to your customer, eliminating also the overhead of the customer service, right? So no more calling, where's my cargo? Did it arrive? Did it not arrive? Now you have also a portal where your customers can see all these details about their cargo and the state of their cargo. At the end, what we're looking here is, for you to be able to stand out of the competition. All these tools, if you go out there and you try to develop yourself, right, it will be very expensive. It's a lifetime of development or research and resources. So, and for you is what allow you to compete, right, on a very competitive and never-ending growing market, right? So I think this at the end will bring better experience to your customers. If you don't have these kind of tools today, or you don't looking to expand and adding this to your tech product, so you need to think about that, because the freight forwarder of the future needs to have these tools at a reach of hand. And so anyway, I think this is
Mhm.
what we want to convey today. I know, Christian, if you have any other thoughts about this.
Yeah, I mean, warehouse is a very specific topic, and we've seen many forwarders over the years. Many of them are now, luckily, our customers as well. That are reaching that point where they're operating a warehouse, and they've started, maybe with a small part of sub leased warehouse from someone else, because they wanted to do some consolidations or some cross docking or some maybe distribution, right? And they're realizing that they can't handle this on paper anymore, and they start Googling, like, okay, what can I get as a WMS? And that's really, it makes your head spin how many WMSs are out there.
Yep.
But I dare to say that Magaya Supply Chain is probably the one designed most with the freight forwarders needs in mind. So it is a very, in that sense, entry level. Like, you couldn't run an Amazon warehouse with it, or a retailer. It's not your high jump or Manhattan when it comes to all the bells and whistles that a massive and complicated WMS system has, but it's perfect for your pallets, your parcels, cross docking, things that typically a freight forwarder or a 3PL would need to do, because it's built for those
For
businesses in mind.
It's,
Yeah.
it's
And
very
I was actually going to mention that, and I wanted to go ahead and put a pause right here, Chris, because I know you and I, well, before I even do that, I was circling back to Bencomo, what he mentioned about all the automations of the warehouse. And if you're seeing on your screen right now, you'll see two of our most popular products, which is the parcel and the pallet dimensioner. One cool experiment that we did in the early days when we were beta testing this product was we essentially brought it to warehouses. And I don't know if you guys remember it because from the marketing team, what we were essentially trying to say is speed, speed. Go ahead and you can process more parcels, you can process more packages, you can process more pallets, and more speed obviously equals more money because you're getting things through the warehouse. The one thing that we quickly realized is how the accuracy component is also saving you a ton of money and how you're recouping money for pallet. And it was a really cool experiment because I'll never forget it. We had two guys from the warehouse and we had them walk through the entire process. So they took out their tape measure, they measured the length, the width, the height, and then they started taking pictures. And we are like, this is an old process. This is taking a really long time. It's extremely manual. And this is all the things that the Dimensioner will optimize. But then at that point, someone said, well, let's have that other guy measure it without them noticing. And so they measured it, and lo and behold, you guys remember? It was completely different measurements because there's so many
Mhm.
factors in place. Like, what shoes is he wearing? How tall is he? Can he really get to the top of the pallet? All that stuff. And we were seeing that compared to the Dimensioner, freight forwarders were losing a ton of money and they were recouping it by trying to get the accurate measurements because what's the top of the pallet for one person working in the warehouse isn't the top of the pallet for, a guy like me that's 5'9", Chris, you're 6 foot something, so you would easily reach the top of the pallet with no problem. And the other thing was consolidations. You've always mentioned to me, Alfred, whenever you're marketing supply chain consolidations, consolidations, consolidations. So I'm going to put you on the spot here. What makes Magaya consolidations so damn incredible that everyone loves it?
Well, is basically the integration that the embedded warehousing management tool that we have, right? That the I always tell my customers, the more data you get from the beginning of the process when you inbound the cargo and receive it, all that data is transferred to your shipments, right? So what it means is like the shipper, the consignee that is sending the cargo, and you have it now in your dock receipt or your warehouse receipt, all that data is transferred to together with the dimensions and weight of the cargo, right? The description, all that is transferred to a shipment, right, with on a master on a house model, or structure. So and you can group it by the shipper, the consignee, a shipper consignee, create a house per each warehouse receipt. So that does it automatically. So you are shipping, I don't know, 100 packages that go to 100 different um, consignees. Magaya will do that automatically based on the information that is on that dock receipt when you do the cargo right to your warehouse. We'll do it at once. It will create all the houses, all the documentation segregated for each one of the houses using the specific entities in each one of those. So no one needs to do that manually. That Magaya will do it automatically. It will trigger an email every time you switch or you determine that you need to alert your customer that you're doing a new process for them or there's a new milestone that was reached. So it will trigger an email to the 100 consignees when the cargo arrived, when you load it into a shipment, when the shipment changed status, and as the cargo departs, right, and then you send it via air, for example. So we have integrations also to get milestones from the airlines and then keep your customers informed about that via email, automatic emails every time there's a change in the milestones of the cargo. So I'll say that's in my mind that's the key elements that makes us the differentiators in the market because there are solutions that they don't have an embedded warehouse management system or they don't do
Hmm.
consolidation this way, right?
Yeah, I think a key for a consolidated shipment, both for origin but also for destination, is how well your TMS and WMS are integrated, how well the data flows between the international shipment and the warehouse and the local uh, deliveries and pickups. Now, when we talk about Magaya supply chain, you don't have to worry about that because they're not integrated. They are the same product. So WMS and TMS in one.
Beautiful. And we love to see that. And I think that we've been speaking for quite some time. I think it's time to just go ahead and take a look at the demo itself of the product. This is the highlight. So we're going to go ahead and and walk us through it.
So once we are in our page one, we're going to go into our operational folder. The operations folder will have everything you require or you normally use on your day-to-day as you take care of your warehouse. I'm going to go real quick from the bottom and show you that you have the ability to control your warehouse as an in and out process, cross-dock, or in some cases with inventory control as well. The inventory item definitions folder will help you creating your items, as you can see, with a part number or SKUs, have a description, a model, the amount that you receive per pallet, the type of package, dimensions, weights, and the most important part of the inventory management part is that you will have this link to a customer, and also you can link that product to a specific manufacturer. You will be able to keep inventory by serial numbers and save those serial numbers when items go out. Why? Because at some point, if you get one of those recalls, like you will be able to track the product all the way to the origin of that reception. This will allow you to take care of the type of inventory that you want to be working with, first out, for first expiring, first out, or FIFO, LIFO. So you'll be able to choose from there. Other thing that you'll be able to control is the replenishment. The replenishment will allow you to have a minimum stock, a safety stock in days, and the most important part, get alerts when these stocks reach that minimum number. You will be able to notify an employee internally within your company, then check this box, and the system will send an email to your client. And if your client authorizes you to do so, the system can place a purchase order to its preferred vendor so you can restock that product. Notice that the system will allow you to control the time that you want the product to be released before expiring. This will ensure that the product has that live shelf ensure, and you don't have to pay for bringing that product back because it's no longer able to sell. So once we get this, the system will allow you to run reports. Right click, reports, in and out summary, and you will have visibility of everything that is coming in during the day, everything that is going out, and how you end your day with the amount of product for your customer. This can be saved and then can be scheduled to be sent to your customer on a daily basis, weekly basis, or monthly basis. Okay, so once we cover this part, let's go to the first step of every process of the reception. We're going to go to our warehouse receipt. Notice that the warehouse receipt will have your logo, your company information, and of course, a consecutive number and a barcode. Whenever we go into the creation of one, you will notice that we have the consecutive number that I mentioned earlier, the date of reception, the employee receiving the cargo, and of course, your company information to keep track of which of your divisions are doing this. Shipper and consignee information will be available for you. We can import this during implementation so you don't have to type it. Once that information is in your customer profile, it will be populated automatically. Supplier, if you have it. If not, the system will allow you to keep moving forward. Carrier, that will allow you to keep track of who delivered the cargo to your warehouse. And of course, the most important part in this process, the commodities. Once you create the commodity, it's going to show you that it's on hand whenever you assign a location, or it's going to mark you as pending if that is not yet assigned to a specific location. Magaya will digitize your floor, your warehouse floor, and will recreate your warehouse mapping into the system. So you have every single location available for the storage of the cargo that you receive. And now we're going to go into the charges tab. Charges tab will allow you to automate the creation of these charges. Like in this case, we have a creating fee, a handling fee automatically created on the process. Then we also add a storage fee that then can be configured by time, by weight, by measures. And the system will allow you to add cost as well. Once you configure the customer profile, those charges can be automated based on the customer profile as well. Now, as you create the reception of the cargo, the system will allow you to create events for your customer to see what's happening with their product. In this case, we have an automatic event saying that the cargo arrived at the warehouse at the moment that you assign a location and click OK on the reception process. The system will also allow you to add attachments. This is to protect you against any damaged cargo that you may receive. You can take pictures with our Binder app, attach it to the warehouse receipt directly from the cell phone app that I mentioned earlier, and this will be visible for your customer through one of our two ways to share information. That one will be transaction tracking, and the other one will be our detail-free portal. Very important to mention at the warehouse reception level and pretty much everywhere in the system, we have a column or a tab that is called More Info. This is going to allow you to build specific fields of information that will allow you to collect the data that is unique for your company operation. We call them custom fields as well. And this will allow you to create groups with difference between the data that you want to collect. And once these fields are created, the system will allow you to run reports based on these ones. So once we have the reception created, the system will allow you to print labels. Just click right here, and the system will print labels for you to attach to the cargo that you receive. This is the reception process, creating a document for that first leg of the reception, but the system will also provide you with a list view. The list view is going to be a control tower for your everyday operation. You will be able to filter by date, by time, by customer, and of course by status. If you want to see everything that is on hand, everything that still remains empty, or everything that is in process. So once you are able to filter, you're going to be able to select standard filters. Like I mentioned earlier, you're going to filter by status. You can check everything that is on hand, or you can select everything that is based on a shipper or a consignee, and the system will give you that view on the spot. You can change the dates, so you have more visibility. And the ones that you see here is going to show you everything that is on hand. And whenever it shows you everything that it's on hand with some pieces in process, means because those are partial releases of cargo. From here, right click, and the system will give you reporting. Different levels of report by employee in this case. If you want to see what is everybody doing within the warehouse floor, you can just click here and you can see the receptions done by every single one of your team members. One thing that you will notice is whenever I put the mouse on top of the line, it will change color. This is because these are live cams that will take you directly to the origin of that data. So if you want to go and see any other notes or internal notes, just double click on that line and it will take you there. And as I mentioned earlier, you can save these reports, put them on the schedule, and then send this internally to your manager at the end of the day, every day. From here, the next step will be to be able to release the cargo. So how you create a cargo release is very simple. We're going to go into cargo releases. You're going to be able to click add. From here, it's going to ask you a release number. The creation date is the date that you create the release, but this can be put in the future. This is pretty common when you know that somebody's going to pick up cargo by the end of the week. In this case, you can set a release date that is going to be in the future. Then you can create a task that will remind your team on the floor that this needs to be completed at a specific date and time. From here, you're going to be able to select from your customer list who you want to release these to. And as you notice, it populates all that information that we have collected previously. We can put the carrier that is going to go to your warehouse to pick up this cargo. In this case, we're going to go access our carrier list. We're going to select one from there. If you have any of this information, you can add it. If not, the system will allow you to keep moving forward. And now it's taking us to our warehouse floor. Notice how the system will allow you to release by warehouse receipt numbers, by inventory, by lot number, by locations, by purchase order numbers or sales orders. And we also have the ability to release by scanning the barcodes on the commodities that are on the warehouse floor. In this case, we're going to release by warehouse receipt number. I'm going to select these pieces and I'm going to click finish. From here, you will see that the cargo release is created, is pushing everything that we create at the reception process, the creating fee, the handling fee, and the storage fee. And from here, I'm going to be able to create a task that is going to be a pick or load task. And I'm going to assign it to my personnel on the floor. I'm going to select my task type. It's going to be a load task. And I'm going to ask them to put this, please, ASAP. Put this in this specific location. Be careful. Delicate product. Notice how the system is telling me that the creation date is today. The due date can be modified, and I can set a reminder as well. Selecting what I want them to load. Didn't check the box. There we go. Finish. And a task is being created. From here, you will have full visibility of everything that you have assigned to your team on the floor by looking to your pending tasks folder. Notice that we have that task that is load. Please load ASAP. I created today. And here again, we can run reports. If you want to run a report by employee and see how many tasks they have pending, if you want to run a report by elapsed time and see how long it's taking them to fulfill those tasks, you can do so as well. Notice that, we have some tasks for 1 minute, 2 minutes, and 3 minutes. This is because we do this on a demo environment, but this will give you full visibility for decision-making processes and understanding why for some people it's taking longer than to others to, fulfill those tasks. We also have a task history that is going to show you everything, again, by pending, completed, or in process, and will give you full visibility of everything that is happening on your warehouse floor. So as you can see, the process is very intuitive, it's very user-friendly, and it's built this way because we understand how the warehouse floors sometimes have a heavy rotation on personnel. So the way we create our WMS operational software is as simple as possible.
We always appreciate whenever Gus does those demos. He tries to keep it as engaging as possible. But with that being said, we've officially reached the Q&A portion of our presentation. So let's go ahead and let's start asking those questions. Like we mentioned in the beginning, go ahead and ask them in the Q&A panel, and we'll go ahead and we'll answer them for you live. So we have one that already came in, which is how easy is it to integrate Magaya Supply Chain with the systems we already use, like a CargoWise or a WMS? And this one can be for either Ed, you, or Christian.
I can take this one. Yes, we have an entirely dedicated team and technology for integrating Magaya Supply Chain to whatever else exists in your tech stack or out there as a vendor, for example. So it can be anything from needing to receive purchase orders or sales orders from a supplier or your agent or customer via EDI, like different EDI format mappings. It can be even some more old school technology like FTP. Of course, anyone that has an API, we can easily connect to. And this is something we have really put a lot of effort in the past year, and actually have an entirely new piece of our offering called Magaya Connect, which actually allows the customer, so you, our customer, perhaps maybe a little more technical user, to see even the messages moving between the different systems when there is an integration. So you'd get an access to a portal where, let's say, you have some shipment notifications going out to a third party, or some invoices being synced to your accounting system or something like that. You will be able to actually view those messages, troubleshoot, try again if something wasn't delivered because the third party service was down, things like that. And the mapping is actually visual. You'll see visually which fields are mapped to which fields in your Magaya system. So we say that integrations probably have now in this past year risen to one of our absolutely strongest areas.
Beautiful. Fantastic. We also have another question. This is from Joanne Daniels. She's asking, what are the customs clearance features? Now, funny enough, Joanne, we're doing a series this entire week about all of our flagship products, including Magaya Supply Chain, followed by Magaya Customs Compliance, and lastly, Magaya Rate Management. We are having a presentation tomorrow, same time, 2 o'clock, and it's going to dive really deep into Magaya Customs Compliance, so we can follow up and send you the link so that you can join us. But in the meantime, I definitely want to go ahead and answer your question. So, Chris, Ed, whichever one of you can briefly touch on the customs clearance feature.
Yeah, so Joanne, we have a full-blown ABI solution and fully integrated with the TMS. So whether you're doing 7512, 7501, 3461, ISF, AMS, truck e-manifest, inbound, if you do Type 86, Ocean, or Type 86 AMS. We have even AI automation to ingest whole invoices with the part numbers and line items, so you don't have to type those and automatically get it into our system and do the filing. And then there's a two-way communication between or integration between our customs compliance and our TMS, right? So you can initiate a process from a shipment and send all the data from the shipment to the brokerage solution that you don't have to rekey, right? Your shippers, consignee, BL numbers, the cargo information, all that. And also, when you finish the filing and there's any charges or any invoices that you want to send back to the TMS, so you can consolidate the customs charges with the freight charges, you can do as well. So it's a two-way integration that is seamless and out of the box. So either you are doing one or the other one, you have that ready to be deployed.
As well as customs notifications. So when you filed your, let's say, your entry summary and the different statuses and notifications come in from CBP, those flow through our customs compliance product to the connected shipment in the TMS, so that even your customer can be automatically notified what the customs clearance status is. So yeah, tomorrow's webinar, if any of you are also dealing with customs, definitely highly recommended. Not to give too many spoilers, but because of our recent AI tools processing, a commercial invoice with 100 line items into a 7501 that could have taken, more than an hour is now a matter of a couple of minutes, and that's including HDS code and the new tariffs being done in an assisted manner for you. So it's great for customs brokers what we have to offer, but that's for tomorrow's webinar.
That's it. And don't worry, Joanne, we'll make sure to go ahead and send you the link so you can join us. There is one more question from Francisco, and it's, are there any other applications for tracking rail freight carriers besides ocean and air freight?
I think Chris will take this one.
Yeah. We have, our container tracking extension that you can contract separately, like as an add-on to the TMS. You can get container tracking, and the container tracking comes at multiple levels, just generic global carrier coverage in terms of vessels, but also then containers in North America for those inbound shipments where we know that the reliable information comes from the terminal, not from the ocean carrier, as to when your container is actually available. And then our provider of the terminal data has in the past year added on rail data as well from all the 6 Class 1 carriers in North America. So through our container tracking extensions, you can already today get ocean in terms of vessels, ocean for terminals, and rail.
Beautiful. All right, everyone. And with that, we go ahead and conclude our webinar this afternoon. I wanted to go ahead and thank our incredible panelists, Ed and Chris. Thank you so much for joining us today. And then also all of you for coming. And after the webinar, like I mentioned, you will receive a copy, a recording of the webinar, and we'll be following up with you. But thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next one. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.